following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Coming up next is the Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime Saturday night. We're going to look back at the week in WWE, TNA, and Ring of Honor. Also, we've got the coronation of the king of the 2011 draft. This guy, along with Star of the Week and more. The Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime Saturday night starts right here, right now on My 24 Milwaukee.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Dameon Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Dameon Nelson sitting alongside David Hero. And let's go right into this week's top story, and it's a preview of this Sunday's TNA Lockdown on pay-per-view.
Wait, we're going to talk about TNA Impact Wrestling?
What are you wearing?
It's the Punisher. I'm getting ready for the draft on Wednesday night.
Looks like something an old woman would wear. You got like all kinds of bedazzle on there, and like, did you tie-dye that yourself?
This is expensive designer.
We were at Lockdown last year in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's an all-cage pay-per-view. That pay-per-view was good. And this weekend from TNA in Nashville, Tennessee, Lockdown happens again. Obviously, the big matchup is the main event match for the World Championship. We'll talk about that in a minute. You can find out the actual predictions, if you will, or the way this match would go.
I'm not predicting. I am just how I would book the show.
I forgot. I'm sorry. You can find out if it goes that way. It's a prediction. If not, then it was just the way he would have booked it
Entertainment
on this past Wednesday's
only.
edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Television. But let's talk about some of these matchups, some of these key matchups, David Hero. And one of them is the TNA Television Championship matchup between Devon, the champion, and Robbie E. Unique in the fact that, well, have they promoted this match, Mike?
They haven't been on TV since Robbie E lost the belt.
On the last pay-per-view.
Yes.
Makes all the sense in the world.
So let's have a match on pay-per-view that everyone's forgotten about. That's why we have Be the Booker, to remind everybody about what's going on.
Do you, that's enough about that match. The TNA Knockouts Championship, Gail Kim defends her championship against Velvet Sky. Gail Kim's been the champion for a very long time on the knockout side of things in TNA wrestling. And Velvet Sky is the opponent this time. This could be a good matchup.
Is this Velvet Sky's first rematch?
I'm not aware.
Belt? It might be. It's going to be an interesting match. You know, before Gail Kim came back into the company, Velvet Sky was the girl. She was the knockout. She was the one that was getting all the adulation from Taz and Mike Tenay.
Adulation.
Adulation.
Oh, no, new word. That's
well,
fantastic.
you know, I've been playing that Scramble with friends.
Scrabble.
It's not Scramble?
I thought it was Scrabble.
Well,
is there an M or a B?
I think there's an M.
You don't do so well at it, do you?
And I got some new words out of it.
The rematch between Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle coming up again on this pay-per-view. I'm looking forward to this.
It's going to be hard for them to top last month's match.
It's a great match.
But now that they're in a cage, I mean, Kurt Angle's been able to do the moonsault off the top of the cage.
As he did last year.
Can you imagine if Jeff Hardy is a swanton? I mean, he kills people to begin with off the top rope. He may hurt somebody with a swanton.
They may hurt each other. Is it a smart idea to have these two men in a cage match?
You know what?
On a major pay-per-view?
They are both machines. Jeff Hardy is still attempting to prove that he belongs after last year's mess with Sting.
Which I think he did last month.
He did, but you know, Kurt Angle is a wrestling machine. He wants to have the best match on the show, and I very well think that they might.
Lethal Lockdown.
This is a mess. It makes no sense.
Team Bischoff, captained by Eric Bischoff, including Gunner, Bully Ray, Christopher Daniels, and Kaz with Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Versus Team Garrett, you know, Eric's boy. Garrett's the captain. AJ Styles, Austin Aries, Mr. Anderson, and Rob Van Dam, who returned to Impact this past Thursday night, make up that team.
So Garrett Bischoff is the guy that was able to bring RVD back to TV.
Hulk Hogan did it.
But you know what I mean. But he did it for Eric, or for Garrett. Ouch.
I mean, if you take out the whole Team Garrett, Team Bischoff thing, this actually isn't a bad match.
It's a very
You got
good
great
match.
names in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Bully Ray is the top heel in the company. Gunner has been fantastic as of late. Kaz and Daniels are two solid hands. Then you got Ken Anderson. He's a super friend. You got RVD coming. Austin Aries has picked up his game tremendously lately. He's now in the main event and a babyface. Who would have thought a guy wearing a black cape could be a babyface?
It happens on occasion.
Only in TNA. Ask Scott Steiner what he thinks about that.
Well, I don't think you need to ask him. I think you just need to follow him on Twitter, and you'll find out what he thinks about that and all the worldly events going on.
Scott Steiner has had more. He's been spewing more venom on Twitter than Sparky did on this show 2 weeks ago.
It's been largely ignored, though.
Oh, Sparky.
Hogan responded.
Oh yeah, Hogan did, but you know, and he did it in the right way, saying, "I thought we were pals. I don't get it." Why wouldn't Scott Steiner say that stuff privately first, instead of just putting it all out there for the world to see? He looks disgruntled. Where's he going to go work now? Triple H won't bring him back. He's not going back to TNA unless it's a big swerve. Can you imagine if it's a big swerve and they bring Scott Steiner and Kevin Nash back and a couple other guys?
That's not going to happen. The Tag Team Championships on the line as the new team that I really enjoy a lot, Samoa Joe and Magnus, take on the Motor City Machine Guns, who returned just recently on Impact as well. Styles are very different, yet extremely similar in this matchup. This should be interesting.
Didn't the Machine Guns just come back? Mm-hmm. And they're already being rushed into a pay-per-view match? Doesn't this go against everything you talked about Wednesday night regarding Brock Lesnar and John Cena?
If you would like to sit there and compare Brock Lesnar and John Cena to this TNA World Tag Team Championship matchup, then I'd love to hear your reasoning.
There's no title involved in Cena and Brock Lesnar.
There is not. No. It's a TNA World Tag Team Championship matchup. I have absolutely no problem with the Motor City Machine Guns' big return being thrust into this tag team matchup, especially since you've got Matt Morgan and Crimson going up against each other after they were the competitors last month. I buy them as number one contenders.
They've had one match back. How can they be number one contenders?
Who should be? Who should be? Who should be the tag team?
There's no more tag teams left. That's the problem. Pick two guys from TNA. Who would you put together as a tag team? I mean, you would think AJ and Kenny Anderson could be number one contenders. They won last month, right? But would you want to have AJ and Ken against Samoa Joe and Hugh Jackman?
The main event, Bobby Roode, the champion, defending against James Storm. This is a match that's been built to for a very long time. It's a cage matchup. You got to imagine Bobby Roode retains again. This is going to be an interesting one between these two.
James Storm has been pushed to the moon lately. He's been getting some big victories over Bubba Ray, over Gunner.
Bully.
It's the same thing. It's the same guy. James Storm has been their knight in shining armor. They've been building everything around him. Why can't James Storm beat Bobby Roode and become the new TNA Impact World Heavyweight Wrestling Champion?
TNA Lockdown this Sunday night on pay-per-view. This one says it is going to be a great pay-per-view. Let's see what happens on Sunday. We will be covering that all day long at PWRshow.com. Still to come, though, here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we've got all the latest from WWE, more from TNA and Ring of Honor Wrestling. I will be coronated as the winner of the 2011 Pro Wrestling Report draft. And we will also have this week's Star of the Week. The Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time continues right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
Attention wrestling fans, live pro wrestling comes to Burlington, Wisconsin on Sunday, April 15th, when SSW Entertainment presents the Burlington Brawl, live from Capelli's Trackside Skating at 637 South Kane Street in Burlington, Wisconsin. See the best in the Midwest compete for the Chocolate City Championship. Sunday, April 15th at 4:30 p.m. and admission is only $8. And discounts available at tracksideskating.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Anderson, and you are watching Dameon Nelson and my super friend David Hero on Milwaukee's My 24. Yeah.
We're going to the Raw Report.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime here on My 24 Milwaukee. Time to talk about World Wrestling Entertainment, an aggressive week in WWE this past week with the Big Raw on Monday night and then the Super Smackdown on Tuesday Night Live. Let's first talk about Raw. And while we talked about it on the Meltdown this past Monday night, it was an amazing brawl between Brock Lesnar and John Cena to start the show off this past week. It almost seems as if there was no better thing they could have done between those two than what they did to kick off Raw this past Monday night.
It was the best way to throw gasoline on that fire. I mean, we waited a year for The Rock and John Cena to have a physical confrontation. It took 8 days for John Cena and Brock Lesnar. And let me tell you, when he hit him with that hand and split that lip open,
roundhouse.
Wow. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if they wanted to have good TV. But I will say this, it was believable. I honestly felt that those two guys do not like each other. And when you send out the baby faces and the heels together and they're all working as a unit to separate the guys, it was such a feel of realism. It was ridiculous.
And several questions, though. Obviously, they were trying to put some heat, if you will, on Brock Lesnar by pairing him up with John Laurinaitis, coming out initially, which I did not like at all. But at the same time, why did the locker room clear? Why did all of a sudden all these people come out to break up this fight between these two men?
It's obvious. They want to see the match on pay-per-view. Why give it away for free
in
on
just
Raw?
A couple weeks?
Absolutely.
Well, it wasn't a match. It was a fight. There's a big difference. There was no referee.
But by having both brands, Raw and SmackDown, minus Punk and Orton and Big Show, and Khali coming out there and separate everybody.
Khali would have never made it.
Well, no, probably not. He was more concerned with Mae Young. But the way that they were separated, it just showed that these are the two larger-than-life spectacles on the Raw brand. That it took 18 or 20 guys each to separate them. Mm-hmm. It showed the power. It showed the strength. It just showed the Raw aggression.
Should Brock Lesnar had spoken this past Monday night? Did an interview with Josh Matthews backstage?
Absolutely. Let him talk. He's getting paid big money. He spoke all the time in UFC. Mm-hmm. So let him. And listen, when Brock Lesnar signed that contract, he's like, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to have, I'm not going to be muzzled. I'm going to say what I want to say and going forward. And that's exactly what he's doing. Johnny Ace had to bring Brock Lesnar out. No, the fans don't like Johnny Ace. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to be on Team Johnny except for David Otunga. Okay? So if Brock Lesnar comes out by himself with already the fans 60-40 against John Cena, well, now it just makes Brock Lesnar a bigger babyface. You want Brock Lesnar to be the heel when he goes and destroys John Cena at Extreme Rules. If he's a babyface, it defeats the whole thing. It screws the whole plan for the next 6-7 months up.
Your theory is that Cena goes away.
Absolutely, he has to go away.
Who takes his place as that babyface if it's not Brock?
Wait, the guy that the internet loves, the darling. That's why they've been pushing Punk so hard lately, because they know Cena has to go away for a little bit. CM Punk is the number 2 babyface in that company right now. He's a bigger babyface than Randy Orton, bigger than Sheamus. He's the guy. Now they're going to see if all the money invested in CM Punk has paid off.
Another summer of Punk?
It's going to be, absolutely.
Speaking of Punk, him and Chris Jericho, that story continued this past Monday night. Chris Jericho again with some great verbal warfare against Chris Jericho.
I don't know why you think this is great for Punk. I think it buries him. I don't think it helps him at all. I think it makes Punk look whiny. It makes him look weak.
Doesn't he need to show that vulnerability though to get
No, not right now. He doesn't.
Okay.
Not from Jericho. Jericho is getting over on Punk. He looks like he's the smarter of the two. Punk has always been the witty, brash, sarcastic Mike Wickett kind of guy.
But this is adding depth to his character. And arguably you need that depth to his character if he is going to be that person who you say will replace John Cena over the summer.
When have you, listen, I'm going to just use another superhero reference.
Great.
The good superheroes, the strong ones,
Batman.
Sure, I'll give you Batman. He hides his pain, his weaknesses, right? Mm-hmm. Punk is not hiding his weaknesses right now. He looks vulnerable.
That's not his fault. It's Jericho.
But it's the creative's fault. They shouldn't, listen, This stuff, they shouldn't even bring this into the storyline. Just let these two guys feud over who is the best in the world. Who cares about if his dad was an alcoholic, if his mother was a drug addict, whatever his sister was
Those
doing.
are allegations, by the way.
Right,
Reference to Mama and the sister.
But what I'm saying is, wrestling fans watch wrestling for an escape from their own personal problems. Who wants to be reminded of that stuff? If that's what they have at home.
Fans have alcoholic fathers?
I'm sure some of them do. Absolutely. You watch wrestling for an escape. You watch sporting events for an escape. Yeah, sometimes it's okay to bring the realism in, but I think they've gone way too far with this. I don't think it's helping CM Punk at all. I think eventually the fans are going to get behind Chris Jericho.
Smackdown this past Tuesday night was live, and it was a look back, a blast from the past, if you will. And how about that Piper's Pit with Daniel Bryan and AJ?
You know,
that slap that Bryan laid on Piper to end the segment, tremendous. Piper looked great, by the way.
Slapping and wrestling lately. I mean, it started last week or on Monday when Cena slapped Brock, and then you got the Three Stooges slapping everybody all around the place, and Santino slapping, and you know, Mick Foley slaps Jimmy Hart, and it's amazing. But you know, once again, the Hulkamania era looked larger than life than the current guys. You know, if this was not, and obviously it's not 1985, Roddy Piper would have tore Daniel Bryan up in that ring.
Daniel Bryan, he's got the shirt, yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
People chanted, yes, yes, yes. The signs were there, yes, yes, yes. Clearly, though, that audio was a bit muffled, if you will, with the yes, yes, yes chants. On his way out, definitely it was. When he was saying it, they weren't saying it with him, but they were saying it with him. But there's a reason for that. Daniel Bryan, obviously a bit of a cowardly heel. It doesn't make any sense for the fans to be so much behind him. So if you're WWE, to me it makes all the sense in the world to control that as best you can. But at the same time, why is there a shirt?
Well, because they're going to cash in on it. They want to make money. But the weird thing is that they're portraying Sheamus as almost the heel because he beat up the referee last week, making him apologize.
$500,000 fine if he does it again.
That's ridiculous. And then you got Daniel Bryan Danielson with the yes, 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 he's getting a babyface reaction. They almost have a Bret Hart, Steve Austin situation on their hands.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Austin was the heel, slowly became the babyface, much like Daniel Bryan Danielson is the heel, but getting a babyface reaction. I think that this 2 out of 3 falls match, we might just see a switch. You might see Sheamus becoming the heel, the aggressor in the match, and Daniel Bryan escaping with the World Championship and all the fans. Because Chicago is a wrestling town, and they're going to be behind Daniel Bryan Danielson.
That's this week's WWE report, and now let's go to see and find out who this week's Star of the Week is. David Hero, take it away.
This week's Star of the Week, you know, once again, there's so many great guys to choose from. Is it
like me, because in just a few moments, I will be coronated as the winner of the 2011
You're going to be
PWR
crowned, all
DRaft.
right, that's for damn sure. But listen, Brock Lesnar did an amazing job. You would think he'd be the Star of the Week, the way he owned John Cena the entire Monday night. But there's one individual that owned the special Tuesday night SmackDown, and that is the Hall of Famer, the Blizzard Brawl PWR Show Hall of Famer, Mean Gene Okerlund, the Tutti Frutti King himself. Comes out on SmackDown, is undefeated once again as he teams with Sheamus to defeat your guys, ADR and Daniel Bryan Danielson. Of course, with the help of all the legends, but Mean Gene Okerlund, this week's PWR Star of the Week.
Still to come here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we're going to talk about TNA and Ring of Honor. We've also got the coronation, the winner of the 2011 Pro Wrestling Report draft. Pro Wrestling Report PrimeTime Saturday night continues right here on My 24 in Milwaukee.
Attention wrestling fans, live pro wrestling comes to Burlington, Wisconsin on Sunday, April 15th when SSW Entertainment presents the Burlington Brawl, live from Capelli's Trackside Skating at 637 South Kane Street in Burlington, Wisconsin. See the best in the Midwest compete for the Chocolate City Championship. It's Sunday, April 15th at 4:30 p.m. and admission is only $8 and discounts available at tracksideskating.com.
There's a lot of pretty girls in this town. Hello, this is Jeff Hardy, the charismatic enigma, and you're watching the Pro Wrestling Report on My 24 Milwaukee.
On April 15th, TNA Wrestling brings its most brutal pay-per-view of all time to Nashville, Lockdown, where every blood feud and championship is settled inside the steel cage. See the Icon Sting, Jeff Hardy, the World Heavyweight Champion Bobby Roode, Hulk Hogan, Kurt Angle, when TNA and Direct Auto Insurance present Lockdown, live April 15th from Municipal Auditorium. Tickets are on sale now at the Municipal Box Office and Ticketmaster.com.
Log on to ShopTNA.com, the official TNA Wrestling online superstore, where you can find the hottest deals on anything and everything Impact Wrestling. Wear what the superstars wear. New superstar t-shirts, trading cards, entrance music, DVDs, action figures, exclusive collectibles, and more are all available right now. ShopTNA.com. Log on today for exclusive deals you can't get anywhere else.
Feels good to be king, you know?
This is ridiculous. I think of all the shenanigans you have done.
Let's go to the Ring of Honor report for this week, ladies and gentlemen. And a big show just airing right before us here on My 24 Milwaukee. Rhino back in Ring of Honor, and Truth Martini is the guy that brought him in.
You know, Rhino is a great addition to Ring of Honor. He brings that recognizable star. Are you okay? Is that
I'm fine,
right?
just carry on.
That recognizable star power. Truth Martini and Rhino go way back, so it's a great pairing. They know each other extremely well. Truth Martini actually trains one of Rhino's students. So great pairing, and Roderick Strong.
He's we hadn't talked about it yet, but he is the television champion, and had a match up this.
This is ridiculously bright. I almost need sunglasses to sit next to you.
Look, I know
Is this
you're
like
jealous.
The Chris Jericho jacket you got here from his
No,
closet?
I'm the king.
Liberace?
I won the draft.
Stole the draft.
Loser. Kevin Steen and Davey Richards has also been signed for Border Wars, coming to pay-per-view on May 12th. Let's go to this week's TNA report. And while we talked about Lockdown earlier on, we didn't talk in great detail about the marriage that happens this past Thursday night in a cage, which is a great way to preview Lockdown, between Eric Young and ODB. Bam. Those two are shenanigans personified.
Can you imagine the honeymoon with those two?
I'd rather not. There were probably some noise complaints coming from that particular
especially
location.
now that Eric Young hosts a show on Animal Planet. You can only imagine what goes on there. Makes me think of Ace Ventura.
Which one?
The first one.
Pet Detective?
Yes.
This was fun. It had a place on the show, I thought, and always great to see ODB on TNA television, and Eric Young, who is one of the most entertaining people in professional wrestling right now. Great to see him on there as well. This was good. A good impact, though, with the building of Team Garrett, RVD coming back, Hogan making that whole thing a deal, the confrontation between Rude and Storm. A great way to build and set up for this Sunday's Lockdown on pay-per-view.
And let's hope that what they did has the fans invested enough to want to order that pay-per-view.
Well, a few of them will. Only so many.
God, obnoxious.
Maybe I'll wear this next week or Wednesday during the draft.
Must you wear a costume every week?
It's not a costume, it's a coronation. I'm the king.
You're the king, all right.
Your jealousy is amazing.
No. Believe me, listen, I could
Thank
not
you
pull
so
that
much
off
for
the way
tuning
you
in,
could.
ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Wednesday. It's the 2012 Pro Wrestling Report Draft. You don't want to miss that. Available at PWRshow.com, followed by the supplemental draft, which will be next Saturday on our big fan appreciation night of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime right here on My 24 Milwaukee. So for that one, this is Dameon Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night.